Everybody, and welcome back to the Kryptonite Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. We're getting some nice little things happening in the charts right now. But of course, today we're going to be talking about two major themes. In fact, maybe even three. We might have a bonus at the end. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about Rackham Rishel's game plan and just some of my thoughts and scenarios around there. And let's see where that goes. Let's see where that goes. It's all going to be organic, as you guys know. I like to, sit in the pocket, as it were. And we're going to talk about that. Rackham Rishel, it could be mega huge for PulseChain and may have some deep ramifications. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about that. This is a fresh topic that we really haven't got too deep into. We've done some surface coverage, but we're going to get deep into discussion about Rackham Rishel and just some of the blues clues. We're going to pick up some of the crumbs. Obviously, I'm not on the inside. I don't know everything that's going on, but we're going to pick up some of the public crumbs that he's got there, and where does it lead it? Where does it lead us? So we're going to look at two plus a third magical scenario as well that could be in play. Now, I did a post on X last night breaking down some of the key numbers, and so we're going to look at that. We're also going to get into we're going to look at also Pulse Bitcoin and Wrap Bitcoin. We're going to look at some of the Bitcoin themes on the PulseChain that you can get access. Obviously, Bitcoin is one of the mega themes this cycle, as it always is. So we're going to check that out and see what options there are that you can get involved with different types of Bitcoin themes. And, of course, that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to be covering probably a bonus material at the end of the Taurus, 1 month of Taurus there from Cryptographics. I just put a post out just before the live stream breaking down the key numbers for the month, but like a timestamp for history's sake. And the results are fantastic. So we're going to talk about that too coming up later on. So, and of course, we know the Taurus version on PulseChain is going to be called Unity, and that's coming up on the 18th to the 20th of this month. And so that's going to be super exciting. We have seen Cryptographics start to do a bit of a roadshow amongst the PulseChain influencers. And I think I saw him on, RG3, I think, yesterday. So he's starting to do the rounds. And so that could end up being even more explosive on PulseChain than even it is on Ethereum and Titanx. Of course, it's going to be using Pulse and PulseX, and that could be hyper bullish for PulseChain, and especially the PulseX is going to have a massive burn. So we could see some really exciting stuff. So that's my intro for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to obviously cover all the markets and break that down. And, of course, our 4 golden crosses. Well, we've got 3 so far. The 4th is pretty imminent, and that is exciting, right? So they're holding up. And even with the little retrace today, that is good news because we're getting that RSI just cooling off a little bit so we can get that mega pump on the golden crosses. Very exciting indeed. And, of course, we got marketing. Must be, maybe 10 days away for the old electronic devices to land. So that is getting closer and closer, creeping up on us. Very exciting. And, of course, we know we've got the interest rates cut coming up in potentially 5 weeks, something like that, on the 17th of August. So the final stamp of approval for banana altcoin season is so close. Wow, that was a lot. But, man, there's a lot happening, isn't there? Very exciting times. We got Derek in the house there. Good evening. Good to see Derek from Rhinify. Rhinify chart looking like a boss, isn't it? The old charging there working like a charm. Wow. That is working so good, and that chart's looking great. So you haven't checked out Rhinify. Amazing project, great tokenomics. But hey, look, probably some of the more important things, it's got a great team behind it. You get in there, into the Telegram. It's one of those Telegrams that are rare. I think like 1 in 10 Telegrams has that kind of warmth in it. And Rhinify is definitely one of those. So check that out. Great team and looking good there for the future. We got Q Baller in the house as well. Morning all. Good to see Q Baller. Big shout out. Welcome to the chat. We got Sean O'Malley as well. Morning all from sunny, warm Noosa there. Yeah, Noosa's fantastic. I've been there once in my life, which is just amazing that I've actually been there, Sean, which is kind of cool. I had a friend there, so he was a surfer, of course, living the dream, and he was pretty good at it too. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the market results, and we're going to actually go to the big screen for the crypto, and look what we've got there. We've got 4.049 trillion. We're up 1.2%, guys. We're up 1.2%. We've got 18,031 coins on CoinGecko. Moving further down, we've got Bitcoin there sitting at 119,000, looking really good. And, of course, we're up 2.4% on Bitcoin. This is really exciting. We're hitting here. We've got Ethereum at the moment is down 0.2%, $4,242, looking really nice after that pump. Basically, we pumped from 3,700, didn't we? Just below that, actually, to 42.42. So, yeah, what's it about? $550 move. Fantastic. And of course, we broke that previous local high of a 4100, right, that we had earlier. So kind of cool. We got XRP right now down 1.3%, $3.18. We got BNB at number 5, up 0.9%, over $800 at $805. Pretty good. Solana there making a little bit of a move. Certainly not super meme season yet, but we're at 1.4%, $182. And then number 9 there is Doge, down 2.6% today, actually, 23.3 cents. And then finally Tron to wrap it off in our top 10, up 0.9% at 33.8 cents. So those are our top 10 right now. And the best performer overnight is Bitcoin, up at 2.4%. Best performer for the week, though, is still Ethereum, up 21.2%, and followed by Doge down at number 9 there, up 17.3% for the week. So Ethereum, nice power move. It's the beginning of awesomeness and altcoin season. It's just trickling in here. Very, very exciting. So brain game on. Now, looking at the top 100, we've got Mantle up there at 45%, a Chainlink at number 2, 36%, Athena, they're up 33%. Athena was a nice call by the Crypto Paradise team, so a big shout out to Nick, Nate, and Amaru for that. That was a really good call, 33%. We got Kronos there up 25% as well, 16.3 cents. And number 5, there's Arbitrum there, up 21.6%. So we're seeing a lot of the AI and meme coins kind of get pushed, and a lot of the utilities coming into the mix, including blockchain. So there we go. That is where we are right now. Looking at the top 1,000, we've got Ava AI, Polyhedra Network, and Codata. These are in the top 1,000, and they're up, around 50-60%. These ones here right now. So we're going to quickly look at these. Just a very brief look. We've got Ava at 797, sitting at 5 cents. It's been around since November 24 last year. Just coming off the bottom, really. It was down at quarter of a penny. Now at 2.5 cents, I should say. Now at 5 cents. So basically a 2x, and that is on the Solana chain there. Let's have a look at it. Hollowworlds.com, and have a look at that side. An AI engine for storytelling, built for a generation there for creator and brands. That's pretty cool, actually. That could be a pretty good idea. It might be something worth checking out if you're a project team on PulseChain. Any of these sort of new technologies coming into crypto. Well worth checking out. So you're probably a good time to spend a few hours there scanning some of the top 1,000, a couple thousand projects on CoinGecko. Let's go into the protocol. Just have a quick look. And of course, here is some of the stuff there. Create an AI agent and etc. Stake Ava. In fact, we may have seen this before. This one, I think we've actually been on this one before, but definitely well worth checking out some of these new technologies on the blockchain. That brings us, of course, into the next one, which is number 2 there. It's actually been pushed down by Codata. Codata's moved up to number 1 there, so we're going to check that out. Codata there is sitting at number 691. It's been around since July 24, so only a few days, actually, isn't it? Only a few days. Not too long. And so that is pretty much coming off the bottom at 2800th of a penny, now at 800th of a penny. And that is on BSC chain. This will quickly look at the website and app. I guess we'll go to the app. Maybe we have to log on. Can't remember, but we'll see. We have to log on. We did this yesterday, didn't we? We did this dance yesterday. I think we looked at this one yesterday as well. Yeah, knowledge layer for AI. So this is the second AI. So these two are all there, the top gainers at the moment, and they're both AI. So there we go. We're going to go to I think we looked at that one yesterday, actually, to be honest. We got Polyhedra Network there, which we've seen before, I think, as well. That's sitting at number 534. That's looking pretty wrecked on the chart. So it started off at $3.25 on March the 19th, 24. So way last year. Fell off the cliff here. So there must have been some drama here on the 13th of June. $2. So fell off the cliff there. I'm not too aware of what happened here. Some of you may know. But it's basically it's come off the bottom. 15.4 cents is now 28 cents. So it's almost a 2x just recently. So getting a little bit of love there. That's on Ethereum. So a bit weird. You might have to find a backstory for that. It may not be too good. So just take note of that. So those are the 3 top gainers trending. We've got Zora, Pudgy Penguins, and Athena are trending right now. And they're all in the green. So that's pretty much it on our market coverage. 4.06 trillion. We obviously got Sunday in the United States, so it's a lazy Sunday, but the markets are looking pretty strong leading into next week, which is pretty cool. And we've got Bitcoin sitting at 119,000. This is looking really good for the setup. Very, very cool indeed. Now, we are expecting a strong stock market in August and, of course, September to favor more the crypto. But hey, look, we might just keep pushing higher here, especially as we get more Ethereum acquisition from the Ethereum acquisition groups, which is pretty cool. All right, so that's pretty much it on that one. Let's have a quick look at, actually, we'll go to the strategic ETH reserve just to make sure that we're not missing anything. I haven't checked it today. So let's make sure that we're not missing anything. I don't see anything too different there. So yeah, don't see anything different there either. So that is pretty much the same. So that's going to lead us into PulseChain, Pulse gains. Before we do that, we've got a few more people in the chat house there. So we've got Wookie as well. Hello, Sell Pressure. Hello, Sell Pressure. That's from Wookie. We're getting a little bit of a nice little correction there. Now, if you guys haven't shared the show on X, take a moment to do that. Just to smash the repost button on X there. And of course, if you haven't followed on X, definitely give us a follow. I'm only 9 followers away from 1,000. And of course, you guys know I've had to rebuild the channel. The last one got taken down for no good reason. And of course, the last one was called Hex Token, right? On the old X. So if anyone wants to try and get that channel back for me, feel free. I've done my best, but no reply. Crickets. There may be some avenues I haven't not aware of, but that's just the way it goes. But get on there, folks, and do that. All right. So we're going to jump into PulseChain results. Shall we get into that? We've got a lot to talk about on PulseChain. It's going to be a really cool thing. And then we're going to end up with, of course, talking about Taurus briefly as well. So let's go into the results here, and let's get rid of that link. Now, we've got Pulse stage 821. We've got Pulse at quadruple 505. So we're just going to take the zeros off and say 5,050. We're down 1.84%. We've got Pulse X at the moment is at quadruple 395, down 4%. And we got an ink token there at $2.10, down 3.5%, and Hex there at 1.2 cents, down 7%. The buy and burn on PulseX is 7.57% right now. So the overall numbers. Yesterday, I think I did the golden cross video, quadruple golden crosses. We've had 3 cross, but we've got the 4th one is very imminent. So it's almost as good as done, isn't it? We've got to have a look at the gas prices there as well. We've got 891,000 beats, so still pretty low the last couple of days, isn't it? 2 cents for a PulseX swap. And we've got the validators right now sitting at 52,580, pretty similar to what we've had the last couple of days. And in the bridge, of course, we've been looking at that very, very closely. We are sitting at 105.5 million. Looks like we have had a decrease, though. That ETH looks down from yesterday. And I took a snapshot, which is kind of cool. So yesterday, we had the snapshot, and I'm double-checking that I got the right one because I got 2 here. Yeah, yesterday we took a snapshot. We're at $107.4 million. We're at $105.5 million today. So that means we're down, what, about 1.9, is it? Something like that. So $1.9 million. And of course, we have actually lost some ETH. So ETH has gone down from 29.1 down to 28.25. So we've lost about 800,000 ETH there. But the actual numbers, 6726 down to 6652. So it's about 75 ETH has gone down. A good news, well, actually, DAI's gone down too. DAI's gone down about 70,000 as well. And so EHEX, of course, is down on the price. So that has gone down from 18.9 million down to 17.9. So we're almost down 800,000 there. So these are the key culprits for why we're moving down. USDC is down about 50K. USD Tether, CST, of course, stablecoin, pretty much stable. USD Tether there is actually up, so it's the only one that's up actually is USD Tether, and of course that is up about 25K, and then Wrap Bitcoin is pretty much just down slightly actually on volume, but you can't see it because it's rounded, but it's down probably about 65K, something like that. So that is a breakdown of some of the bridge stuff there. So we'll keep a lookout for that. And that leads us into the Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Bitcoin first. So I hope you guys enjoy that. We're going to break that down. And we've been following the Bitcoin narrative and themes on the old PulseChain. So first of all, we're going to look at, of course, is you can actually buy wrap Bitcoin from Ethereum on PulseChain. And of course, we've got about 27 Bitcoin on the chain. And we're going to keep a lookout for that in case anyone looks at the Richard Hart theories around Bitcoin and his Genesis bags, and if he decides to pull over a few Bitcoin or something, who knows? So that is what we're looking out for there. We can see at the moment, I've got this on USD and market cap, so we're going to have to put that back to price. But we've got the price obviously sitting at 119,500, and so people are buying that. We also saw quite a bit of volume back here. There's the weekly candles back here in April, so quite a bit of volume there. And of course, let's have a look at the amount. We've got 1.83 Bitcoin, wrap Bitcoin there in the pool versus Pulse, with 4.33 billion Pulse there. So that is about 437,000 liquidity. And so you can buy yourself a bit of wrapped Bitcoin. Now, that wrapped Bitcoin from Ethereum that's been bridged over, of course, is backed by actual Bitcoin from the Bitcoin blockchain, and that is done via custodial, and that is what you can buy. And of course, you could bridge that back out of PulseChain if you wanted to. It'd be over on Ethereum, and of course, you could then potentially, redeem it as well for actual Bitcoin on the blockchain. So that's kind of how that works. There, 109,500 is where that is at the moment. So that is wrapped Bitcoin. But there are other options on PulseChain now, because PulseChain's created money out of nothing, and that's what crypto does, right? It creates things out of nothing, which is fantastic. That's people go, how does it do that? How does it do it? I don't know. How does it do it? Well, people just make it happen, and then they pair it up with something else that's worth something, and then they're both worth something, right? That's kind of the play. And something's going to be worth more than something else if people want it more. Right, so there we go. We got what do we got here? We got let's go. We're going to go have the fork PulseChain. Now, remember, PulseChain forked Ethereum back on the 10th of May, 2023, and so this is the forked Ethereum, and we can see it's actually doing incredibly well. So as Richard Hart would say, it's in the pretty much the minds people's perceptions and expectations around what this market psychology is doing. And currently, we're at $827 for one wrapped Bitcoin on PulseChain. And of course, that's just a fork copy, right? It's just created out of nothing, and now it is worth $827. So there we go. That's the power of humanity, I guess, and that's where we are right now. Now, recently, back on the 31st of July, we were up at $1,119. So there we go. And of course, there's relative scarcity. So over on Ethereum, the wrapped Bitcoin is probably about 135,000 of them. They're only a small subset of the 19.8 million Bitcoin actually in existence. But over here, we've got actually an increased supply, 155,000, I think it is about that. And we've got a different, obviously different ownership profile to some degree as well. But you can see we've got a very good, strong uptrend. Look at that uptrend on the daily candles. Obviously, a volatility. You've got volatility here. For example, we had this beautiful rally all the way up to here to, say, $614. That then went down 50%. So you've got to handle the volatility. Of course, we are expecting the altcoin rally, probably the biggest super cycle in crypto ahead of us. So you can probably feel pretty good about where this might go. And the market is obviously feeling good about that too, because it's going up and to the right. And so it's continued to push higher, and we're at 1,111 just the other day. We're now 827, and it's still going up and away with higher lows. And of course, Bitcoin there sitting at 119K, looking pretty good. So the market cap at the moment on the PulseChain is 127.7 million for the Bitcoin. Now, the question is, how much convergence will we get to the real Bitcoin? And that's something we're going to see. And this is something that Richard Hart talked about. Let's see what shared psychology happens on the market, and so far it's showing some decent value. Now, we have had, of course, a higher price back here in the what day was it? The 29th of November. The wrapped Bitcoin on PulseChain, the fork copy, got up to $2,674. Isn't that pretty impressive? And it's looking pretty good right now, isn't it? Looking pretty good. Let's go to the weekly candle on the old wrapped Bitcoin. And this is the fork copy, right? So we've created money out of nothing, essentially. And look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. That is on the way up. So looking very good right now. And of course, if Bitcoin breaks to 130K, 170K, 200K, 250K, 400K, $1 million, whatever it gets to, you can see that we're probably going to re-rate here. And of course, Rackham Rishel, who we're going to be talking about today, is talking about getting one wrapped Bitcoin. And so we, back when basically we forked the chain. So that was all the case there. And of course, we've had good times in there. So that's wrapped Bitcoin. That's another option you can do. Obviously, we've got also pump tires, been around for about 6 months. And we had Bitcoin launch on pump tires as well. And as you guys know, pump tires was only about a billion tokens per token. And so that's looking pretty good. So we had a nice little bounce back here of 00013. So we've got very different prices on the old pump tires price here. We're down at 00013, and of course here we've pumped all the way back up to 5,182 on here. So it's been pretty good, and of course it's got its own different allocation. You can check that out yourself, but it's up 300% in the last month. So it's doing very well indeed, riding on the back of the Bitcoin and Ethereum pump. So looking pretty good. That is the pump tires version, and you have to check out the allocation. We'll probably do that at another time. Now, of course, we've got our good old favorites there. So in terms of time order, We've got obviously the Bitcoin from Ethereum is the first, and then of course we've got Wrap Bitcoin. We've got Pulse. We got the Wrap Bitcoin, which was the fork version, and then we had Pulse Bitcoin come out. Right, that was the third, and then of course fourth was the pump tires one. So it did it slightly out of time order, but that is the order of creation. And of course we got Pulse Bitcoin here on the PulseChain, and this was very very popular. Right, so very popular. And of course we had this, obviously come down in price. We had a little bit of drama early on, but it seems to have taken its stride and on the way back up. We had obviously got down to all the way from the top here. We were up, pretty high. I think what was the high here? 22 cents. We came all the way down here to what's that? Half a penny, and then we're back now up at 2 cents, and we're looking pretty good on this. Some sort of I don't know if that's really a cup and handle, but we got a nice little moves going on here, and we're sitting at 2 cents right now with plenty of room on the other side. Now we know that there is on PulseChain, there is a pretty much a Pulse Bitcoin Council, and it's full of some pretty big players in it. It might surprise you, and of course they are doing some pretty awesome stuff here, both not only on PulseChain, because Pulse Bitcoin is on PulseChain, but also on Ethereum. And of course, the idea is that it is a digital version of the physical Bitcoin. So Bitcoin obviously has ASIC miners. These are controlled in China and Russia and other places where they mine Bitcoin, and it's a relatively expensive game. And of course, now you've got this opportunity to do Pulse Bitcoin, which is where you get the ASIC token and you can go start mining Pulse Bitcoin. It is the same idea with Bitcoin, like 4-year halvings, things like that, but they do it all faster, right? It's all done faster, so it's basically on speed dial for the old Pulse Bitcoin. But it has got a lot of support with the old Pulse Bitcoin Council. They're pretty much, I guess, taking it over in many ways, looking to push it higher. Now, obviously, they've had a lot more success on Ethereum, but they're moving over to Pulse Bitcoin at 2 at some stage, and probably not too far away, to be honest. And we see the chart is actually looking pretty good at 2 cents right now. So if you get ASIC token, get Pulse Bitcoin, you can get into play there and, of course, enjoy the same thing that Bitcoin did on the actual Bitcoin blockchain on PulseChain with the same tokenomics, but all sped up. So definitely we're checking out ASIC and Pulse Bitcoin there and getting part of that. So pretty cool. Now, the other one, of course, we're going to look at is the Ethereum side. And, of course, this has had a lot more attention up to this point, at least, from the Pulse Bitcoin Council. And we can see that it's actually done pretty damn good. They've done a pretty good job. Now, there's always sellers, right? Always some sellers. So that's just the way it goes. But they've actually got liquidity over here. See the difference over on Ethereum compared to PulseChain? But it's the same, basically, tokenomics and project. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Different prices, of course, and everything else. Different holder class. But, yeah, they've got about maybe 35% is currently locked liquidity. So quite cool. And you can see the chart there. Let's go to the weekly chart, though. I want to bring that up, and we can see the whole thing. So that's the weekly chart there on Ethereum. Obviously had a bit of drama back here in June, but like I say, the Pulse Bitcoin Council has taken over this and providing, obviously accumulating and supporting it and all the rest of it. So there we are right now, 3.5 cents right now, coming off the bottom of 3800th of a penny. So it's actually been a pretty nice little retrace there. Pretty cool indeed. So that's what it'll get up to about 2,000%. So what's that, a 20x or something? Currently still up, quite a bit there, 750%, so an 8.5x right now. Now the RSI you can see on the weekly has come all the way down to 44. So this actually looks pretty good. Now, this also has an ASIC token as well. I'm not showing that here, but if you get the ASIC token, you can start mining Pulse Bitcoin digitally without a physical miner, and you can get yourself some of that as well. So obviously that is a bigger topic which we may talk about in the future. So there we go. That is kind of cool, and a big shout out to the team there. I know that Fat Sammy's involved and other people. It is pretty exciting what they've done with this, and we'll keep a lookout during the bull market ahead of us. So keep a lookout. These things can all move pretty fast as well. So that is our Bitcoin theme. Always cool to cover that, and it's great to have so many options. So you've got at least 4 decent options around the Bitcoin theme on PulseChain you can participate in, and sometimes you can take a bit of both, right? Take a bit of everything. But that is pretty much it on the old Bitcoin. That's going to lead us into the Bitcoin markets. Of course, we got PulseChain markets. We've got $27.5 million on the old PulseChain, and it's doing pretty good. Pretty similar to yesterday, really. 350,000 transactions. That seems to be up quite a bit, maybe 30,000 transactions or so. So it's pretty good today. Obviously, we had the golden crosses yesterday, 3 out of 4, and the fourth one is pretty imminent. I think it's for INC. And we can see the top performers right now. So we've got Damien there, been around 15 hours, or PDI Man, it's called. And it's up 3,400%. It's had a 344K volume on 57K liquidity. So it's pretty outstanding. Let's have a quick look at PDI Man. It's even got a website. I don't know who set this up, so I haven't had enough time to look at that. But that is on the chart right now. So look at the hourly. I've got it on the weekly chart for some reason. But that is the chart. It's actually got a weird profile, isn't it? It's a pretty weird profile. Definitely looks like it will probably go up then down from that, but obviously not financial advice. So if a quick look at the website, this is going to GoPulse. It's a little bit lazy, but they're going to GoPulse there, but they do have a Twitter handle. You can check that out and maybe find out a bit more about it. Let's jump over out of there, though. We'll go to Plutonium, I guess. Plutonium, been around for 14 hours as well. That's up 386%. So we're at 600K volume on 19K liquidity. That's even more insane. That's way more insane. Let's have a look at this one. Obviously not endorsing any of these. We've got Putin there with some Plutonium. It's got pretty crazy chart. Obviously not financial advice at all. And you have to check everything else. So Plutonium there, the most explosive meme coin in history. So there we go. Another one hitting the blockchain. What else have we got? Magdalene there. Pentagon. What's it? Pentagon Electro something. And that has been around for 3 hours. It's got 109K volume on 42. So we've got a lot of these new coins every day. We get lots of these. So obviously, we're just covering them because they're on the top of the charts. So just remember that. We got UKID there is 6 days. Been around for 6 days, up 186%. We got PulseChain that's been around for 4 days or 5 days. That's up 176% right now. We got P Flanny, been around for 6 days, up 135%. And then we get to some ones that we kind of know a lot more. And that is Peacock there from Liberty Swap, up 126%, sitting at 1.4 cents. So let's have a quick look at this one. And we can see the chart's looking actually pretty damn good, isn't it, actually? That's on the hourly chart there. So not bad, not bad. Let's go to the daily. That is the daily chart there on the old Peacock there, riding on the back of, I guess, Liberty Swap success. So there we go. Just below Peacock, funnily enough, is Briar. And of course, we're going to talk about that with Rackham Rishel. He's adopted this meme coin because, of course, Briar's his little puppy dog. So there we go. 107% up today. So 2x on that one. And that has had a nice, super strong recovery. And of course, we've bounced off where? We bounced off 1200th of a penny. We're now at 2700th of a penny. So really strong bounce back there. And of course, Rackham was out there yesterday, and we're going to talk about that in detail, talking about how, you guys are underpricing the old meme coin there because big things are coming. So Sarah right there, I've been around for 10 hours, up 62%. We've got Beef Token, been around for 4 days, up 39%. So we've got tons of new coins sitting in this list, plus a couple of the more recent big coins like Peacock and Briar on the mix. We've got Extractor, been around for 18 hours, up 12%. Alamo, of course, benefiting the Fitzgerald company protocol. That is on the back on up there. It's at 7 cents, and it is up 4.4% today. Let's have a quick look at that one. And that has been obviously on the move. So some pretty weird charts there. Let's have a look at that. That is the chart based on what this pair is anyway. The Alamo UFO, so it's probably a more recent pair. It's got some pretty crazy volume there. We got Dump Tires there, up 3.7%. That's it. 16 coins are actually green right now on our trending, which is pretty unusual. We've had up to 75 coins today, but obviously a little bit of a tiny little retrace as we hit those golden crosses. Our golden crosses are still intact, of course, but that is the play. And then we've got all these other tokens down the list here, which we're not going to get too much into. We might pick off a few as we go. Don't forget to smash the follow button on X, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you're new. And of course, we're trying to hit that 1,000 target. Can we do it today? We've got a pretty awesome crowd, people watching at the moment. So definitely give that a smash out right now. All right, so let's get into some honorable mentions, even though they're all in the red right now. We got obviously Bitcoin. We just covered it. It's just about even. We got Soul Sun Mini Meal is sitting at 5 cents, down 2%, looking pretty good. Of course, that is managed by the Buy and Burn, and that is managed by CEO corporate there. So good old Wolfgang sitting in there, probably like click, 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 click. Anyway, so that's pretty much. We've got RhinoFi sitting there. Of course, we've got RhinoFi in the house today. So yeah, there's Derek right there from the RhinoFi, and of course, this is looking pretty good. Let's have a little look at this chart on the old RhinoFi. Bam, bam, bam. And of course, what does it look like? Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's a pretty good looking chart there, RhinoFi. And yeah, they got all that buy and burn filled up. Let's go have a look at that. Did I post it? I think I posted out something like that on the Runify. Maybe it was something else I was doing. But let's go look at the charge cycle and look at that. Woohoo! They got $15,400 sitting in there, 306 million pulse ready to buy and burn all month, 28-day period, right? And of course, we've got the charging cycle refilling. So we've had charging cycle 1, and now we're on charging cycle 2, is it? Yeah, charging cycle 2, and we've got we've got the balance at 453 million. Our PLS goal 450, so we're above that. And also already, since we're in the second charge cycle, we had the first 28 days. Now we're on the second 28 days. The first 28 days had a high tax and on the sell side, and now that's moved to 6%. So we've got 6% buy and sell tax. So that's going to change it a little bit, but we already start with 50% of the previous charging and then top that up, right? So that's where we are right now. And it's looking really good. So this is looking a pretty good, strong little setup. And yeah, it's boding well for the old Rhino Fi. Looking good there. All right, so big shout out for that. Actually, let's put that in the chat there if you want to check out Rhino Fi in more detail, because it's pretty novel economics here, or tokenomics, I should say. That is Rhino Fi. So big shout out to the Rhino Fi team doing some crushing stuff there. Bam, bam, bam. And there we go. All right, what else? We got Evangelos in here. What do you think about Ethereum is heading to an all-time high? Yeah, we've talked about that in depth over the last couple of days, Evangelos. In fact, the breakdown has been next level on this channel. If you haven't checked it out, do check it out over the last couple of days. We've broken all that stuff down, really down to its fine degree, including down to MNAV. So there we go. That's how geeky we got with it. So you can check that out over the last couple of days. What else? We got Heart with Dog in the house there. Love Noosa Sean. Yeah, Noosa's good, isn't it? Like I say, it's one of the few places I've actually been to in Australia, and it just so happens to be Noosa. Good old fashioned at Money Penny, says Heart with Dog. We got Yellowtail in the house there. Hello, everybody. Have their haircuts yet? I did. I'm ready for the cream pump. I like that, Yellowtail. Yeah, it's always good when the markets are just going pumpy. Get a good haircut, and you get to enjoy it even more for some reason. It's just I don't know, super. Just the way it looks, I guess. And yeah, it was fun. Hexvader as well. Hey, gang, good to see Hexvader. Big shout out. Hey, we've got a great bunch of people in the chat here at the moment. Don't forget, if you're watching for the first time, get into the chat. Let yourself be known and hear your opinions. Obviously, we're a PG channel, so keep it family friendly. Apart from that, get in there and talk about what you like on PulseChain and things like that. Very, very cool. And of course, we do crypto, obviously, as well. So that is the old Rhino Farm. Let's jump further down here, and we're going to have a few others here. Let's go down. We've got obviously ALGO, Time, Teddy Bear, 9-inch down here as well. All slightly out of the money. Solid X, of course, another one of my Magnificent 7. Just having a little bit of a cool off there, down 4%, $13.23. And remember, the Fire Whale, the other big whale on PulseChain's got a $1,000 target on the back of Solid X. So we're going to look out for that. Mafia. So Mafia's got a big live stream coming up. This is from Jacob, of course. And of course, this is coming up there. So we're going to have a look at that. It's got a bit of a weird looking W in there, but this is coming up. We're going to keep a look out for that. It's going down right as we speak. But other than that, they've got a big live stream and some big updates coming from the Godfather, aka Jacob. Now, obviously, we're looking forward to updates around on-chain bet coming up in September. So that's a launch that we're expecting, a really big launch for PulseChain. And then, of course, we're also looking for PUSD ALGO, the flagship from Cult DeFi, in my perspective, the flagship, the big juggernaut for the PulseChain as well. And that's going to be huge. All right, so we're scrolling down a bit further here. We've obviously got PulseX and stuff like that. We've got PTC and Liquid Loans down here as well. So we've got some of the giants, UFO down here. Also Top Hat from Crypto Coffee down there. What else we got? We got obviously Curve that was doing well the other day, down 6% right now, 1.2 cents. We got Finvesta from the OG Web Chef, just under $12 right now, down 6.8%. Let's have a quick look at that. That's kind of the parent of all the OG Web Chefs. Yeah, that's down just up off the bottom here. Would it get down to $8? Yeah, $11, just under $12 right now. Recently at $14. So that is that old Finvesta. Keep a lookout for those. They sort of pop out of nowhere. We got GoPulse sitting at 1 cent right now. Surf Token sitting at 1.4 cents. That is looking really, really good. I think it's got a falling wedge. We're looking forward to breaking out of that. Currently just cooling at the moment, but Surf Token looking primed. Pump Tires as well, sitting at 1.9 cents. And then we've got X Game there as well, along with Solid X, sitting at 3400th of a penny. Expecting big things from that big casino. So we've got on-chain bet from Jacob, and we've got X Game coming from Firewell. It's going to be two mega decentralized casinos, not just on PulseChain, but multi-chain, and both of them essentially with an omni-chain strategy where they burn the PulseChain token. So we're looking for some big stuff happening here on the chain over the next 2 months at the right time, right place. You couldn't ask for more, could you? Couldn't ask for more. It is going to be pretty exciting. Obviously, down here, we've got other ones like Pepe, meme coin. We've got Sparta with the Hex DAO there. We've got some of the PulseChain, I've got to say it right there, tokens down here as well. And just cooling off here along with Blitz and many others. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We've got Trump Pump Tires, Fitzgerald Company down here at 13.3%, taking some profits there. And yeah, we've got Doge and Best. We've got lots of tokens here, and also PulseChain itself, the new farm. And of course, we've got Gophers sitting down here as well. So that's kind of where we are right now on the PulseChain. Just having a bit of a cool off there on lazy Sunday. You guys know Sundays like that, but Bitcoin is looking good for the setup for this week, and we're expecting some more acquisitions from the Ethereum acquisition vehicles as they press on to get their huge targets. Of course, a Bitmine immersion there looking for 6 million coins. Can you believe it? And they've only got 833,000 now. It is game on, guys. We're going to have such a fun ride. It is game on. Everything is aligned. It's absolutely amazing. President Trump, of course, is making peace deal after peace deal. The world is becoming a safer place. He's trying to pull down the wokeism and the progressive radical Marxist ideology. And, of course, the ones that the globalists love because it gets to give them more power. And, yeah, he's doing his best, but he's still being fought back. We've still got countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, Europe still fighting back for that authoritarian power they're all so desperately to get. And, of course, trying to do digital IDs and everything else to enslave us. All a trap, of course, all of it a trap. And it's a bit like remember Star Wars? It's a trap! It's a trap! It's a trap coming! It's a bit like that, but yeah, it's crazy stuff. All right, let's move on into it. So we're going to get into Rackham, Rishel, which is the main topic today. We've got a couple of them, though. So we've already done the Bitcoin coverage. And, of course, that's a mega theme for the cycle. But Rackham, Rishel is a mega theme on PulseChain, right? So we're going to be covering this and give you a few of my thoughts about some of the scenarios that we may see, right? Some of the scenarios we may see. All right, we got iStar Boy in the house there. We are all Pulse guys, and there's a lot of girls too, but guys, we use that as a generic term, don't we? The guys, bring the guys. And there's like 9 girls out of 10. That's pretty funny. I love it. We got that going good. All right, so let's come in the house there. We got Rackham, Rishel. If you think the price action of Briar is all that now, lol, no big lol. Wait until you see it integrated into services coming with Coinwell and Coinaki. So he's got big plans now. We know that he had previous platforms before that were going to launch, but of course the SEC came, and of course he probably wanted to avert any association, and that was a smart move. If you're a big venture capitalist looking to re-rate your whole portfolio, and crypto is one of the best, pretty much the best performing environment to do that, then you've got to delay your plans, right? So here we got them coming back. We got Coinwell, I should say, and Coinaki at the more, and there's more. So we are expecting to see more as well. Oh, and I started bringing friends. They start small, and then they what's it? Losasaurus, I think it is. So obviously he's got a whole ton of clients that are very wealthy individuals. And we're expecting some big things there, right? So I think he's in Florida, isn't he? With the lakes, got a beautiful house, and got a manatees, I think it is, the little sort of was it hippopotamus that got a little rudder or whatever it is. And so yeah, he's in Florida. He's so President Trump's state, and of course it's a lot of crypto people in there, one of the big crypto states of America. And so yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're just going with this, and so we're going to talk about perhaps a couple of scenarios there. And of course, we've got to take warning here. Make no mistake, he says this will be alpha meme on PulseChain. Period. I am not asking. Please don't take me seriously. I will provoke you guys one step further. I am buying more on my own like a normal user. So he's got these two platforms, and that's what we're kind of, rather than talking about Briar just by itself, which he wants to be the number one meme coin, and of course, as the top whale on PulseChain and PulseX Sacrifice, he ran a bit of a consortium there that took the number one spot, as you guys will remember. And so he is making big moves, right? So this is pretty exciting. So that is what's got us excited about this. And of course, he's posted out this just, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, I think it was. Yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, at 9:40 in the evening. So not been maybe a day and a half out. He says, I said long-term play. If they don't listen, nothing I can do. So he's pretty much talking to everybody out there. If you don't listen, there's nothing he can do. People have no idea of what is coming. And this is what caught my attention. Really, obviously, cover Rackham a lot, but this is kind of what got me thinking more about doing a deeper dive, and that is fine with me as long as it will work itself out. Lol. And he posted a little picture of the Coinwell site, right, with basically a liquidity fork on it. And look what he's got on it. He's got the Borrow DOLR. So that looks like a stable coin. And so we've got 4 liquidity forks on PulseChain already. And this would be, and they're all 4 of the top 10. So there's about 35 liquidity forks, give or take, out there in the world. And 4 of the top 10 are on PulseChain. And so we got the Borrow dollar there, and of course that would be dollar, and I guess R is for Rackham Rishel. I guess so. That kind of makes sense to me. You guys let me know in the chat what you think, but dollar Rackham or something like that. So branded, not a bad idea. Then we've got a yield farm as well. Not only we have liquid fork, we've got a yield farm sitting in there as well. So it's a 2-for-1 deal, and of course there's definitely room for yield farms. We know that there's probably about 6 or 7 yield farms on PulseChain that you can actually get nice yield. Some people call it passive income. Some people call it DeFi income. They can have different attributes to them, obviously. But, typically yield farming, passive income, all those sort of terms have slight differences depending on, maybe the volatility, things like that. So there's lots of different features there. But here we've got a yield farm, add liquidity, staking pool, and redemptions on there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where that all goes from here. So you can see at the bottom, Borrow dollar, stability pool, staking pool, redemptions, liquidation. So that was pretty interesting, giving us a little Cartesian view of that, I guess. That is where we are right now. Then, of course, he followed that up after that with this post. I'm not concerned with short-term price movement. Like Richard Hartwin, my focus is on building it right once I've completed my work. And, of course, he's got here with M Crypto. Now, we know that he's been doing a lot of his frontman was Steve. And now we've got Triple Dad in there who does a great job around the community. We see him everywhere. And we've got Triple Dad there now doing a lot of his frontman work, which is pretty cool. So I guess Steve is probably pretty busy these days doing his own things for Rackham perhaps or something else. And we've got Triple Dad now doing a lot of the sort of the front, I guess what do you call it, filtering and action man. And of course, we've seen Triple Dad out there in a lot of X spaces and supporting a lot of teams. He does a great job there. And of course, he's part of the Magic Carpet Ride 369 team, right? So we got also Team Midgard in the house there. So how many people are aware of Team Midgard being suddenly put in the mix? And of course, they do the big block explorer. They do about 20,000 views a month. And so, they're a pretty decent player on the field, bring one of our latest block explorers. And so, yeah, that's got that in the list there. So, what's going on with that? And of course, we've got and the rest of my group, right? So the rest of his group there, his entourage, as they say. It's entourage. It's a good show, Entourage. I don't know if you guys remember. But our full scope will be presented directly to Richard Hart behind the scenes. So, hey, look, seems to have back channels to Richard Hart here. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and probably, no doubt, it's possibly going through RG3 and others, of course, as well. So there's a lot of linkages going in there through that little group there. As well. So that's kind of the play. Someone said to me that, a lot of the American influencers and project teams and stuff like that pretty much run out of 3 different US states or something like that. That's great. I love the theories out there. It's great. And I mean, obviously it's based on reality to some degree, but it's always fun to see. So we've got SMO in house there, 100, looking good. And looking good there. So nice. All right, let me scroll up here as well. And let's jump back into the mix here. So yeah, we got that from him. He says we will have everything offering finalized so he can see the commitment and the execution from his number one sacrifice of the PulseChain between our financial services. So obviously we talked about these products here, Cornwell and Koinaki, and potentially a few others out there. Our main coin, of course, which is now Briar, the one he's adopted, and that is play that he didn't found that, by the way. But that is coming up there, and let him manage the business side. So this is the interesting part, actually. Let Richard manage the business side. So I'm not quite sure what he means by that, but typically that would mean, you launch the protocol and it sort of sits itself in DeFi. So I'm not quite sure what that exactly means. You guys let me know in the chat what you guys think is going on there. And our role will be clear and impactful. Obviously, they're marketing, promoting, bringing investors. That kind of seems logical. So, yeah, interesting times. Now, manage the business. This would lead to our third scenario that I'm thinking of, right? This is the magic scenario, and we're going to talk about that briefly. Now, it says others can move in whatever direction they choose. I have my objectives and I execute them on my own terms. And of course, we know Rackham Rishel is his own man, right? So he does his own thing. He has his own views and his own skills, and so he's going to play it out his way. Now we got 1.9 million market cap lol on the old Briar token, and he's laughing at that. Only in crypto can whales signal their intention to people oblivious to believe it. So obviously we've seen a 2x in the price of Briar overnight. So some people are starting to believe, right? So and of course we had that pullback after a pretty strong rally. So yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to see where that all goes from here, and kind of cool. We've got high leverage in there. Just it's great to post a post, but just don't spam everything. That's all I'll say about that. It's astounding to believe that you people actually believe that I or Richard Hart are not going to support this community. Absolutely clueless there. So in other words, he says something, you should probably follow his lead. And of course, you guys know I call this the whale strategies. Is Rackham Rishel and of course Firewell as well. We've got two whales doing two big things on PulseChain. And that is the whale strategies that you could potentially adopt as part of your portfolio. Once again, you always have to do your own due diligence, but that is some of the fighting talk there from Rackham, and I love it. And of course, we love this sort of stuff. This is what builds value on PulseChain, and of course, brings in the capital as well. So building value, reasons why people should come, and then people do come with their capital, and then it's game on, right? It all adds on like a layered cake. I always use that analogy. All these big things coming from big people add like a layer cake, right? And of course, retail is one of those layered cakes as well. They play their part in the cake that we're. So that's our cake analogy. So that is pretty cool. Then we had Rackham Rishel, obviously talking about Briar, and we posted that. And of course, then we've seen him doing some action around this. So this gets into the scenario. So let's bring up. I'm not sure where I've got this on here. It's not the next one. Not yet. Yep. Not that one either. Let me just bring that back there. I think it might be on this one. Not that one. I've got it on one of these. I'll find it, guys. Hopefully it was be on one of these. I'm not doing very well finding my own post. But let's go back here and let's scroll down here and I'll find my own post. So yeah, this is the post. So this is a speculation, right? So we see all the stuff from Rackham. And we've got Rackham is intending to either scale this to 100 million or plus, or 10x that to more or more to 1 billion plus TVL. So total value lock. So the amount of sort of collateral you got in your system, reflecting two scenarios for this, in my opinion. So let's break that down a little bit. Why did I choose two different areas here? Now, obviously on PulseChain, we have 6.5 million in PulseChains for liquidity forks, right? And as I said to you, I mean, they've been pretty successful. And for the top 10, and we've got 61 million TVL backing those, right? So that's Pulse, PulseX, INC, and Hex, right? So we've got those four, the Richard Hart core coins backing these 61 million TVL. So pretty significant, I think we can all agree. And of course, we've got 6.5 million in stable coins. So it's like a 1-to-10 ratio, right, to that TVL sitting there. But we also have DEXs, right? So we also have 4 DEXs in farms that are pretty large. So this is excluding all the medium-sized farms that we cover, which typically is like, Emmett Farm or Vox Farm, these sort of farms like that. But this is these are the top 4 DEXs, right? So this is thinking of bound PulseX, 9mm, 9-inch, and of course PHUX are there. So those 4 is pretty much included in there. 280 million, and they make a lot of our TVL, right? A lot of our TVL. So that is a combined. Why they combined the liquidity forks with the DEXs? Well, because he has got a liquidity fork and a yield farm here. That's the idea. So we're just trying to follow that logic, right? So that's the logic there. And he says, I'm playing long term, right? I'm playing long term. People have no idea what is coming. So we tried to quantify a little bit about what we've got on the chain already and where we might be hitting. Now, the other thing, of course, liquidity itself on Ethereum has many front end providers. And it is sitting currently at the moment 550 million in a TVL. So here we've got 61 million on PulseChain. We've got 550 million by comparison on Ethereum for liquidity, which is the original, right? This is the genius one, and this is the first one. And of course, this was a brilliant model here. One of the 3. There's 3 different parts of the stablecoin trilemma, and liquidity provides the second one, which is collateral back. The first one is fiat back. We already have one of those that's Coast on PulseChain. The second one is the collateral backed, and that is the liquidity forks, right? So we have that as well. Now, the third one we don't have, and that is the decentralized algorithmic stablecoin, and that is PUSD ALGO. That's why we keep talking about it. That's the third one. And now we've recently heard that that's going to be modified to align with the Genius Act there with some special tech. We have no idea exactly what that means. We can speculate on the basics, but that's where it is right now. So kind of cool. So this liquidity TV is by comparison 550 mil, and then we got stables of liquidity there. We got LUSD, which is the version 1 of liquidity at 40 million. There's 40 million stable coins, and then we got Bold, which is the V2 version, right? It's an enhanced version, a little bit more risky in some ways, but that is at 43 million, right? And it's trying to get the balance between that stablecoin trilemma, trying to target some of the scalability outsides of it as well with the old Bold. And that's sitting at 43 million. So we've got $83 million of stables at the moment in the liquidity fork. So gives you an idea. We've got $83 million of stables there on Ethereum, but we've got 6.5 million here on the old PulseChain, right? So that's the idea. Just to give you a backdrop of some of the numbers. And of course, Rackham is coming in from the looks of it with a 5th version, right? A 5th liquidity fork, but also combined with a yield farm. So we're interpreting what we're seeing on the chart, right? So hopefully we're 100% right on that, and I feel confident that we're doing pretty good there. Now, the other side, of course, is how big will this be? Well, we've already looked at the numbers here. We've got numbers between 61 million and 550 million in TVL. And of course, here we're talking about 100 million. So that's the 100 million side. That's the logic there. We've got 61 million to 550 million as a range. And we're going to say, well, he's a big guy. He's a big venture capitalist. He has a whole client list of investors potentially that can come in. He's building up big platforms, right, that we're talking about. And so he could quite reasonably get the TVL of 100 million. That's not a big ask. That means a whole ton of new capital would flood over into PulseChain. It'd probably happen at in a staged approach incrementally as some of those big people come on. The more people come on, the bigger amounts that come on. So it's a process. And of course, that's kind of where we get to the 100 million. So that's additional to whatever PulseChain has already. So if we're doing about 350, 360 million in total TVL across all the chain, including the liquidity and the DEXs, then that gives us another 100 million. I mean, it's like, maybe a 25% increase in TVL, and that's a big deal, right? That's a significant deal and put a lot more pressure on assets coming in. In particular, this case, we might see even Briar potentially being used in here, but certainly we will find out what other assets will be used here for this liquidity fork. Typically, you choose one or two, right? So that is going to be pretty interesting to see that play out. So yeah, Briar could be, very, very much next level. Obviously, we could see lots of other things happening as well. So this could be a massive re-rate for Briar, but also a massive re-rate for anything else that Rackham wants to particularly put in here as well. So that's kind of the first play. That's 100 million. I think that's a very doable scenario. It's a very basic idea. The second one, of course, is because it's also going to have liquidity farm. That also adds to getting to 100 million quite easy. Now, we've also got another one here, 10x to a billion plus TVL. Well, he's been talking to a lot of important people. And so he's got a big network, of course. And maybe he goes even bigger than this. Maybe he goes bigger than just, the sort of the closer circle. Maybe he goes far along those networks to talking to a lot of other people. And he starts thinking bigger here and start scaling that up towards $1 billion plus TVL. Obviously, if we're sitting about 350 million on PulseChain overall, everything on the major stuff at least, then that really just smashes out of the park. Somewhere you go to 1.3 billion, right, rather than 350 million. So you can see the scaling could be massive, and he could have very big plans to reach deep and wide amongst advisors and institutions and all sorts of stuff like that. The other thing, of course, he could have is bring back the old Saudi money, right? The idea of the Saudi money coming in. And obviously, we know that they've been moving into crypto a big way, especially after Trump went on all the trade negotiations and got something like $4 to $5 trillion from the Middle East there, from the UAE, Qatar, and of course, Saudi. It could be massive, right? So, and of course, Rackham has got those negotiations. Now, obviously, when the SEC came, and of course, there was a lot of silliness going on X social platform around that. People basically wrecking their own bags with their nonsense. This could also be back on there, and that could be massive for PulseChain. And we could see numbers. I got 1 billion, but we could see numbers from these US investors and Middle East investors absolutely being amazing. So we could get 1 billion plus is definitely on the tables there. And that'd be pretty exciting. So, to get on the top 100 on CoinGecko, you pretty much need to be around 1.3 billion, I think it is at the moment. So that would get you in the top 100 as a chain. So PulseChain technically, I guess on TVL would be there for that. Obviously, the PulseChain coin re-rate dramatically. So that's some of the big stuff. And of course, you're talking about a huge exponential re-rate in all the PulseChain calls and, of course, the rest of the PulseChain. So this is a mega giant deal. So a really big deal there. So this is speculation. We're all speculating here. And, of course, about the reach that Rackham has. He's definitely got a very established investment arm and venture capitalist network and clients. There's no doubt about that. He obviously, with his consortium, took out #1 spot on PulseChain and PulseX for the sacrifice in the tens and tens of millions of dollars. So he's definitely got that capability to get to the 100 million. And probably with his reach over the last several years, probably been able to definitely have the potential to reach $1 billion plus as well. Now, this is even made easier. So we talked about the US investors that he potentially has access to in the deep sense of his network. Also for the Saudis, bring them on board. But we also see something else that he's been talking about, right? And of course, that is he's been doing all this promotion around Briar token, right, for the meme coin. He's been pushing this out on professional sites. So you can see here we got Fort Wayne's here as well. We got KTIV.com. So he's been pushing out with professional marketing teams on the Briar token. So he just pushed it out as press releases to get attention kicking there all over the place. So he's really putting money into the promotions, and this is just the beginning, really. It looks like he's going to have a very long play here with all these promotion companies, and they have a very wide publication release, right? And so that is what he's been doing. And this is just one of the posts that he's been doing it, and one of the 4 that he's been doing it. So it's very huge to him. We also see that Rackham has also been teasing about the following people. So he's got, guys, I'm going to do an interim giveaway. And of course, he's been doing a lot of giveaways, obviously a lot of promotion there in the market. I still think it's slick, my man Colin at Crypto Noor. Call you after I land. So this is an idea of him reaching out to some pretty big influencers and potentially investors as well. And of course, this is just some of the stuff he does. So if we take a look at the picture, there's Colin Noor there. It's got 563,000 followers, social media influencer sitting in Texas. And so, we've got Rackham flying at least to Texas, I guess. They're meeting up with him. We've also got him talking about grab a gun. Obviously, Rackham is also involved in the gun business, and of course, shooting ranges and things like that. And I think he possibly has some sort of military part of his business there as well. And then we also have obviously Rackham himself, and of course he is a venture capitalist. And of course, he's got Rackham.com. You can go check that out, all that sort of stuff there. And of course, crypto consultant as well. And of course, we're a producer of the Highest of Stakes and looking at the Highest of Stakes version 2 as well. And then, of course, we have this. This post is really the next level. This is where we wanted to get to. So now we have this Saudi story. Now we have the US investor story and the VC capitalists. But we also have the Donald Trump Jr. Now, Rackham Michelle's teased about having connections way into the White House for this. And obviously, posting a Donald Trump Jr. Post there is very bullish indeed. So how far down the rabbit hole do you go? But this is posted by him as well. And of course, we know that Trump's doing the digital strategy, particularly over the next few months. We're going to find a lot about potentially the Bitcoin and altcoin stockpile strategies. And of course, here he's got a direct link in through here. It seems through Donald Trump Jr. And so that'd be pretty huge. So these guys are about making money, right? So these guys are about making money. We know that Eric Trump's about making money. We know Liberty's out there buying up crypto. We know they've been pumping the Ethereum theme. And of course, it's game on. And so talking about PulseChain is just another opportunity there. So yeah, we could see some pretty cool things. It's going to be pretty interesting to see whether they get any more little breadcrumbs. Like I said, there's a bit of a breadcrumb we're following and to see where this leads, right? See where this leads. So a little teaser there from Rackham. And, we only 786 views, 680 views on that. But I think it's actually one of the biggest posts he's put out, which is what I want to highlight today. So interesting stuff. How far down the rabbit hole do you go? But that was pretty interesting. As soon as I saw that, oh boy, that is pretty crazy. So lots of cool things happening there. And so we've got promotions going on. As I said, we've got platforms, right? We got promotions, right? We got promotions. And we've got big networks happening here as well, including the son of the President of the United States, and of course around the crypto strategy right to the White House. That's the comment that he's made, right? So in another post, I haven't got that post up, but that's another post he's made there. So that is pretty exciting. Where could that lead? Pretty awesome stuff. And of course, all that stuff there comes back to his point about hitting up Richard Hart once this is all set up and saying he can run the business side. And of course, with connections into the White House and potentially Trump there, that would be something next level, wouldn't it? which is pretty cool. So that brings us in to, of course, the numbers that we were talking about there earlier. I'm just going to find my original post here. Let me just go back and find that. I lost it there, but hey, that is the original post. So we could see, 100 million plus. We could see 10x 1 billion plus. In fact, that could be multiple billions, right? So there's no real cap. That's why I got the word got the plus letter there. We got Saudi money, we got US investor money, we got potentially access into the Trump side of crypto, and into potentially crypto, even part of the digital strategy and the crypto accumulation, the altcoin stockpile, all sorts of stuff potentially there. But in particular, Liberty Swap and other stuff, it's not Liberty, but Liberty from the Trump family. So all sorts of things could be playing out there, lifting up all that TVL, and suddenly we could see it incrementally step up once he launches that. And that's why he's talking about, I said, the long play. If they do not listen, nothing can be done. People have no idea what is coming. And so that's why we're speculating here. We're going down the rabbit hole based on the breadcrumbs that he's given us. And we're just, playing around with some of these ideas that he could be doing. So pretty awesome. And then we're trying to give them some quantitative reference here based on what we've already got. So, and we also know we're still early, right? So we're early in the cycle, and big numbers can suddenly explode, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, I've also got here that it's going to Richard Hart, right? So what the heck? On the back streets to Richard Hart, what's going on there? And of course, we know, RG3 and people like that seem to have some sort of access back channels there. And so it looks like all this is going to be presented to Richard Hart there. And of course, that was pretty interesting about him running the business side. And so what could that mean? Would that be, the PulseChain strategic reserve, right? Would that be to do with that? That's the magic side, right? So now we're getting to the scenario number 3. We're really going down the rabbit hole here now, and that's the wrong one. We go to look into RH. Big shout out to Gerardo, and we're look at what we're at right now. We are pretty amazing. We're up at 709 million on this PulseChain strategic reserve, and we're sitting at up 13% now, $81.7 million. That is pretty spectacular. And of course, we're heading up and away, right? We're expecting 15K Ethereum by the end of the year. And of course, that is going to put this at 2.5 billion. So in a very few months, September, October, November, December, we could see this showing a number around 2.5 billion plus or minus. So that is pretty epic, right? That is pretty epic. So look out for that. That's going to be pretty crazy right now. So that is what we're looking forward to at the stage. And of course, is that part of the business management? Is they're going to do some sort of setup with there on some of these platforms of Rackham Rishel, or is obviously Richard running his own game plan, which we expect him to be doing. So is Rackham's just something that's coming in from the side, obviously having some back channel talks. He's teased about that before as well. So it really is going to be pretty interesting to see where this all lies. Obviously, pretty crazy. Even if we saw a little bit of this ETH come over, right, we could see 10% of this ETH come over to PulseChain and go into a protocol, right? That would be pretty crazy, right? So if we saw even 10% come over, 90% just stays where it is, 10% comes over, and then it gets potentially collateralized or something as wrapped ETH. Maybe Rackham's Rishel's platform's going to take wrapped ETH. That's a possibility too. That would all be part of the, and if it's over 100 ETH, you guys know which 10% of that would be, right? So it's about 16,000, 17,000 ETH. That would be still on the strategic ETH reward strategic ETH bull board, right? So we go back to that on the strategic ETH reserve, and we would still see, at 16,000, we'd still be sitting in the top 20, pretty much. Yeah, we'd be sitting just above Game Square if that was bought over and put into something like the Rackham dollar liquidity fork and yield farms. So not maybe the yield farms, but in the collateral, and of course issuing all those stable coins, getting them moving around. Now the interesting things, not all liquidity forks are created equal, right? Some of them are highly staked. We see Liquid Loans, for example, and Power City quite highly staked, so we're not getting a lot of money velocity going on there on the chain. But then we're seeing ink printer dollar, which is I think like 65% staked, and so potentially we see more circulating velocity of money happening with the ink printer. It would be an interesting question to deep dive, but it's something I just thought of just then. And so it's interesting where we might lead here, how far down the rabbit hole goes. So we're going to have 2 PulseChain. Imagine that, having that split up slightly, and then we have it sitting here with a Rackham's liquidity fork here, sitting here at number 20 or something like that. So that would be pretty crazy, right? So we're just thinking, going down the rabbit hole here, thinking laterally. Now, none of this may end up actually being the way it plays out, but it's certainly fun to see where it might actually lead. And of course, we could have big capital flows coming and maybe putting that ETH to use. Now, there may be other better ways, as I've talked about. using the ETH strategic reserve. Sometimes people obviously can go to the point where it just stay there and be a psychological benefit as the market gets ramped up, and there's all these ETH reserves are perceived as some great juggernaut, just like strategy is on Bitcoin. Then the PulseChain SAC gets treated that same way. And all you need is psychology, right? That's really, at the end of the day, what markets are about. And of course, then you need people to do actions on that psychology. That sort of reflects that kind of a real thing. And that's kind of what we're looking at there. So we could just get that, or we could get some collateral backed system. And so in other words, the balance sheet, the asset play. And of course, that has a myriad of things that people could create. A liquidity fork would probably be on the low end of that, I think, in terms of value creation, but still significant. But maybe a better one is actually a multiple play on asset play. So that would be something I'm looking out for, and that's something probably Richard would probably be looking for. So we'll see what happens in that space. Question mark there, big question mark. But that would be the best play. Now we also have income plays and buy plays, right? Where you just take the ETH and you go buy stuff up. I mean, that's definitely a play there, and you just shave a little bit off. You stake it, of course, and you get that income, and you just take that and shave it off and buy up all the time as the price re-rates over the years. So there's lots of different plays that could be happening from the balance sheet and from an income statement point of view with the old ETH reserve there, including the no move, nothing changed position. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And of course, maybe Rackham Shell is one of those options there. We could maybe see 10% come over. I don't think we're going to see it all move, but maybe just 10% would be major move on the old PulseChain. Maybe it does go through there. We'll see. Keep a lookout. Just one of the many options there. So that is kind of the play. We're up to an hour and 6 minutes. We've got a great bunch of people watching at the moment. So big shout out to everybody. If you haven't followed on X, give us a follow. We're only a couple way there. We got 8 people to get to 1,000. So you guys know I'm rebuilding the channel from my last one that got pulled down. So give us a help there. That'd be great. So that is some of the cool stuff there. Obviously, these protocols are coming very, very soon. Rackham is free to do them now. The SEC got the feed on the 7th of July. We are free to do whatever we want, pretty much. And very, very exciting about where we're heading here. So that is what I called the impacts on the PulseChain would be gigantic, even without any of these scenarios. All 3 scenarios would be a major, major impact on PulseChain. No matter what the scale, obviously the bigger scale, the bigger the impact. And of course, we could have that magic scenario, which I just talked about as well. That is where Richard Hart and the Strategic Reserve get involved, running business, let's say, whether that's 10% of the supply or whatever. You don't need a lot often to do a lot of cool things. People have no idea what is coming. We know it's going to be big, and so some of these scenarios could play into that as well. The impacts on PulseChain would be gigantic, even magical, and that is a kind of a teaser to the magical carpet ride, which is all based on the ETH strategic reserve there. We'll explore this on live stream because we just did that now. So hopefully that was give you a little bit of excitement, because it's definitely things are afoot, folks, with the old Rackham Rishel, and it seems like there's a back channel through to Richard, and it could be absolutely game on there. So tying up potentially linking into Donald Trump, to the Saudis, to investors, to Richard Hart and the magic carpet ride. It could be pretty exciting, folks. And of course, big fighting words there from Rackham. And look, you got to believe him. He's a man that got wealthy and knows a lot of people and is a high achiever, right? So bring it on. And he's been very committed to PulseChain for the years, and says he's going to be committed for many cycles to come. So keep a lookout for that. That is pretty cool. All right, let's jump into the next one, of course. That is our coverage of Rackham Shell for the time being. We're going to follow that up as we get more information, more little breadcrumbs. We're going to try and make more associations there, and hope you guys enjoy it. Now let's get into Taurus. Now this is a different, of course, this is on Ethereum and Titanix, but also coming to PulseChain, because Unity is going to be the same DApp, but it's going to be on PulseChain. That's coming up on the 18th to the 20th. This is from a very big, large PulseChain influencer and Titanix influencer, Cryptographics. He has now become, obviously, a founder, and I call him the Whiz Kid. And of course, no, he's a man, but he's a Whiz Kid because PulseChain, he's come into PulseChain, and the tokenomics in here are really next level, and he's flipped everything on its head on Titanix, and it's coming to PulseChain. Now, on Taurus on Titanix, of course, takes in Titanix and Ethereum. On PulseChain, it's going to be using Pulse and PulseX. And on Taurus and Ethereum, it burns Titanix. On PulseChain, Unity is going to burn PulseX, and indicated at a rate something like 20 times faster than the PulseX buy and burn. And of course, if you multiply that rate by volume, so the more volume goes into Unity, the even more the greater impact in total that's going to have on PulseX buy and burn. And Cryptographics is excited about how that might shock the market on the old PulseX. And of course, we're looking for it to coming up on the 18th to 20th. So that's kind of a bit of a backdrop there. And at the moment, Taurus has been 1 month to 31 days. We're on day 32 right now. And we've just had a month go past. And these are the results that I documented here. I wanted to document it for a historical perspective. But we've got 3.18 billion shares are now in the pool. So remember, this basic idea is there's a reward pool, and then there's a shares. You have shares in the reward pool. So that's it. That's it. You got reward pool on one side, you got shares in the other. You can create or stake, and you get shares, and therefore you get part of the reward pool. That's it. The reward pool is going up at a decreasing rate over time, and the only max could ever be is 125 million coins. Of course, that will be burned off as well to some degree also. So that's kind of the basic overall tokenomics. Everyone wants to get shares, and you can do it through two ways: creation or staking. That's pretty much it. So yeah, there's 3.18 billion shares today after 31 days. And of course, the reward pool is currently sitting at 11.8 million right now. Of course, that's going up at a decreasing rate over time. Now, entered the pool so far after 31 days or 1 month. We've had almost $1.3 million. This is based on the price of Titanx and Ethereum, for example. This is just under $1.3 million in a month. So you've got to be pretty happy with that. It's a pretty successful protocol. Remember, this is a staking protocol. So it's using some ROI protocol sort of incentives to entice people, but really it's a staking protocol. And so this is what we're going to see play out, that combination, that psychology play out. And of course, the mathematics directs you down that long play with some pretty, hopefully high rewards for a staking protocol moving down. It's kind of the basic general idea. Now, there are 3.73 trillion Titanx has gone to this protocol. Fantastic. So that's a very big success in a month's time. And we may see a rally happen. Anytime we might see waves of rallies happen in terms of adoption going into here. So that's what we're going to keep a lookout for. 3.73 trillion, it's very excellent success with that rate at the moment. Now, also Circular. We've got Circa here. We've got 100 ETH there. Now, I say Circa because it's probably slightly overstated, probably more like 95 ETH or something like that, because apparently the June dashboard doesn't represent it quite correctly. It's going to be adjusted, but that's hit 100 at the moment on the public press there. So we'll say it's about 95 or so. But that's kind of the play there. We've had 178 creations so far. Remember, the only way to get shares at the moment, to get the Taurus share, or where's the Taurus shares here? Yeah. The only way to get shares is to either create or stake. And of course, creating is far more better on the ROI right now. There's 1,782 creations so far. How many unique people? I don't know how many unique people, but there's 1,782 creations and 158 stakes after 31 days. So pretty cool there. Now, how much Titanx has been burned? 215.7 billion Titanx has been burned. That's really good. And of course, this is going to keep going. As it keeps going, it's going to keep burning more. And it's already got a pretty big treasury, right, which we're going to talk about. But this is on PulseChain. This is going to burn PulseX at a very high rate, 20x expected compared to the buy and burn, PulseX buy and burn. So we're going to look out for that. Now, obviously, the buy and burn treasury, I call it a treasury. Obviously, it's capturing all that buy and burn. And of course, the treasury fits the theme around ETH treasuries that have been started up. As we see, there's a big boom going. That's going to be pumping all of our bags. So 967,800 was what I added up today in the buy and burn treasury, including 74.71 ETH. And as you guys know, once you get over 100 ETH, you can go apply to the strategic ETH reserve and get yourself listed there as well. So we could potentially see a nice little strategic listing there for Taurus on the old strategic ETH reserve as well. So kind of a bonus upside there, free billboard. And of course, that congratulations to Cryptographics, terrific results. And of course, that is the mark there. And these are the results. They took a snapshot. Obviously, it's about 7 or 8 hours into the day 32, but it gives you a basic idea of the numbers there. We've only got a very small supply right now, 19,132. And I think we've got a bit of a supply day coming out today, tomorrow, and then it sort of dies off again. We've got a little few ebbs and flows there in supply coming out. 5,600 Taurus has been burnt so far, and we've got 5,844 Taurus staked so far. So very early days, still after 31 days, and the protocol playing out pretty well. That is the timestamps there. So pretty awesome. Taurus and Unity, and of course Unity coming to PulseChain 18th to 20th, and I think it's going to be very, very popular. Many people are thinking it's going to be the adoption will be even more crazier than we've seen on the Ethereum chain. Obviously, with Titanx is down at the bottom of the price range right now, with PulseChain's on the move up. So we've got all this excitement as well, and we've got a much better organized community over here, of course, with influencers, community leaders, and the community itself. So we could see some very exciting things. So expect Cryptographics to do more of the PulseChain tour and more of that around on the old X and social media over the next a week or so, because it's coming up basically almost in a week, isn't it? So that'll be us to the 18th, 7, and that's 18th. So in a week's time, we could see this launch on the 18th, somewhere between the 18th and 20th. So very exciting times ahead. All right, so some good comments there. Let's get in the house there. We got Brendan in the house there. Sell pressure and WAS have much in common. Thanks you for that, Brendan. Appreciate that. Moving on. Yeah, they're having a big trouble right now. They're having a big trouble. Those are two aligned, actually, the WAS and the sell pressure. Brendan says 30% SAC wallet. Woo, up and to the right. Yeah, that SAC wallet looking so good, isn't it? Pretty amazing there. What else there? We got ETH to $1. ETH to $1. Hopefully it's a bit more than $1. To $100,000, $100,000. Well, there are people, further out in the future talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars ETH. And of course, if it takes the same trajectory as Bitcoin does, and then that could be pretty amazing too, right? Property View in the house there. Great broadcast today. Thank you very much for that, Property View. Appreciate that. Big shout out. Yeah, we've got a great bunch of people watching at the moment. I think about 212 people. So big shout out. Hope you guys are enjoying the show today. And a big welcome. If you guys haven't followed on X, definitely smash the X account. Leave a comment. Share the channel around as well. If you're on YouTube, definitely share that as well. We're on 3 YouTube channels. So share that out too. And, of course, a big welcome there. So we're going to wrap up here, I think. Lance says hex up. Hex up there, says Lance. That was very, very cool. In fact, let me have a quick look at the PulseChain just before we leave. We got Hex obviously taking a little bit of profit there, but the RSI gold crosses are still in play. And we're having a nice little cool off in the RSI. Getting ready for that big move. Only about 10 days away by my count, approximately, for the big marketing drop, the big van to airdrop all those 200,000 electronic devices to the US. Going to be pretty awesome, and we're looking forward to the impact of that, and everyone find out what they are, what's included in there. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking wallets and things like that. We'll find out. It's got to be something pretty engaging, doesn't it? So keep a lookout for that. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Shall we play out something else? We might also get very soon, right? We might also get something special from Richard Hart. And, of course, as you guys know, Richard Hart sometimes visits the show. Yeah, that's true. It's true. So if we hope you might hit the doorbell. You just never know. You might just hit the doorbell. Oh, whoa. Hey, come in, Richard. Richard's here, guys. Richard's here. Let's get it.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment. Because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.
I didn't hear you, Richard. What'd you say?
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment, because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.
So that could happen, guys. That could happen. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Catch you again tomorrow. Monster Thread is out later today, guys. Week number 14. Can you believe it? Monster Thread is coming out later today. And, of course, the 14th Monster Thread, PulseChain's weekly newsletter with all the oddest news. Pretty amazing. I know MBS Crypto is working hard on that as we speak. And so it's going to be awesome, guys. Enjoy. On and up from here, man. Our countdown is on. Maybe 10 days away for the marketing drop with the electronic devices. We've only got like 5 weeks to go to the interest rate cuts. It's going to be game on. We are exciting times. It is going to be choo-choo. Let's go. All right, bye for now. Take care.